The rain was coming down hard when the transport bus finally stopped. Its headlights cut through the fog like knives, revealing the outer gate rising slowly from the ground. Beyond it stood a wall of concrete and razor wire so thick it looked less like a prison and more like a fortress built for war. Red lights blinked along the perimeter. Cameras tracked every movement. Nothing here was accidental. Nothing here was forgiving. This was Pelican Bay State Prison. And someone had just arrived who was never supposed to make it inside alive. The bus doors opened with a hiss. Guard stepped out first, hands steady, eyes scanning the darkness. The air smelled like wet asphalt and cold ocean wind. Crescent City slept just miles away, unaware that one of the most dangerous criminals in California history was being unloaded behind these walls. His name was Marcus Hale. By the time his boots touched the ground, 3 people were already dead because of him, or so the official story claimed. Hale didn't resist. He didn't speak. His wrists were cuffed, his ankles chained, and yet there was something unsettling about the way he looked around. Calm. Almost curious. Like a man arriving somewhere he'd been expecting. One guard muttered under his breath, "This place eats people like him." Hale smiled. Inside the administration building, Warden Evelyn Cross watched the intake process from behind reinforced glass. She'd run Pelican Bay for 7 years, long enough to know when something felt wrong. And tonight, everything did. Hale's file was thick. Too thick. Convicted of orchestrating a multi-state criminal operation from behind bars. Suspected involvement in at least 6 inmate deaths. Linked, though never formally charged, to a corrections officer who'd vanished 3 years earlier. Every prison he'd been held in before Pelican Bay had reported the same thing. Order collapsed wherever Marcus Hale went. Riots. Assaults. Silence followed by sudden violence. And yet, there was never enough proof to keep him isolated forever. Until now. As the gate sealed behind him, Cross felt the weight of a decision she couldn't undo. Pelican Bay wasn't just where California sent its worst inmates. It was where the state buried its mistakes. And Hale knew it. 2 hours later, the alarm went off. It wasn't loud. It wasn't chaotic. It was the kind of alert that made seasoned officers stop mid-step. A single tone, repeated once. Code Grey. Inmate unresponsive. The call came from D Block, one of the most tightly controlled units in the prison. Officers arrived within seconds, weapons ready, hearts pounding. The cell door slid open to reveal a body on the floor. Inmate Daniel Ruiz. 36 years old. Former gang enforcer. A man known for surviving things that killed other people. Now he lay motionless. There was no blood. No visible injuries. No signs of a struggle. Just one strange detail. Ruiz's eyes were open, staring straight at the camera in the corner of his cell. As if he'd known someone would be watching. By dawn, rumors were spreading through the prison like smoke. Ruiz had been healthy. Cleared by medical that morning. Locked down alone. No contact with other inmates. No weapons allowed. And yet, he was dead. The prison's official report would later list the cause as unknown pending investigation. Unofficially, everyone knew what it meant. Marcus Hale had been inside Pelican Bay for less than 12 hours. And already, someone was dead. Detective Aaron Cole got the call just after sunrise. He'd worked prison-related cases before, but Pelican Bay was different. Cases that went there rarely came back out. When they did, they were buried in paperwork, redactions, and silence. Cole had spent 20 years chasing criminals who thought they were smarter than the system. Hale's name was one he recognized instantly. "You're telling me this happened after he arrived?" Cole asked, gripping his coffee too tightly. "That's exactly what we're telling you," the voice on the line replied. "And we need you here now." By the time Cole reached the prison, the fog had lifted, revealing the sheer scale of the place. From the outside, Pelican Bay looked quiet. Controlled. Almost peaceful. Inside, it was anything but. Warden Cross met him personally. She didn't waste time with pleasantries. "I don't believe in coincidences," she said as they walked. "Not here." Cole nodded. "Neither do I." They reviewed the footage together. Ruiz entering his cell. The door locking. Hours passing without movement. No one else entering. No sound. No disturbance. Then, sometime after midnight, Ruiz collapsed. Just like that. Cole leaned closer to the screen. Pause it there. The frame froze. For less than a second before Ruiz fell, his head tilted slightly upward. Toward the camera. As if reacting to a sound no one else could hear. Who's in the adjacent cells? Cole asked. Cross hesitated. Marcus Hale is 2 cells down. Cole turned to her. Has Hale been interviewed? No, she said. He refused to speak. That was the first time Cole smiled. They brought Hale into the interview room under heavy guard. The walls were bare. The table bolted to the floor. Cameras recorded everything. Hale sat down slowly, chains clinking, and looked directly at Cole. You're late, Hale said calmly. Cole raised an eyebrow. We've never met. Hale chuckled. Not face to face. The room seemed to shrink. You know why you're here, Cole said. Hale nodded. Because someone died. And you need it to mean something. Did you kill Daniel Ruiz? Cole asked. Hale leaned back as far as the chains allowed. If I had, he said softly, you'd already know. Cross watched from the observation room, her jaw tight. Cole pressed on. You arrived. He dies. Explain that. Hale's eyes flickered, not with fear, but with something closer to disappointment. This place runs on rules, Hale said. Written ones. Unwritten ones. You think those walls protect you. They don't. They just keep the noise inside. Is that a threat? Cole asked. No, Hale replied. It's a lesson. The interview ended with nothing concrete. No confession. No slip-up. Just a warning that felt heavier than any admission of guilt. Over the next 3 days, the investigation deepened. Cole interviewed guards, inmates, medical staff. The same story repeated over and over. Ruiz had no enemies in D-Block. No recent conflicts. No contraband found. But something else surfaced. A corrections officer named Lisa Moreno had filed a report weeks earlier. She claimed Ruiz had been acting nervous. Paranoid. Saying he was being watched, even when alone. Moreno had since requested a transfer. Her request was denied. When Cole went looking for her, he was told she hadn't shown up for her shift that morning. Her car was found in the employee parking lot. Unlocked. Keys still inside. By nightfall, Pelican Bay was on edge. Extra patrols. Restricted movement. The kind of tension that turned small mistakes into disasters. And then, during a routine cell check, another discovery was made. Scratched into the concrete wall inside Ruiz's cell, hidden behind his bunk, were 4 words no one could explain. He told me first. Cole stared at the message, his mind racing. Told him what? And why did the handwriting match a note found years earlier in a completely different prison, connected to Marcus Hale? As alarms echoed faintly through the corridor, Cole realized something chilling. Hale hadn't just been transferred to Pelican Bay. He had come here for a reason. And whatever that reason was, it was already unfolding, right under their noses. But when they checked Hale's cell again, they found something that made the room go silent. The concrete beneath his bunk had been freshly scratched. And written there, in the same jagged handwriting, were 3 new words. You're next. By the time sunrise broke over Pelican Bay, sleep had become a liability. The words carved into the concrete, "You're next," were already sealed behind layers of documentation, photographed, catalogued, and classified. Officially, the prison denied their existence. Unofficially, they changed everything. Detective Aaron Cole stood alone in the corridor outside D-Block, staring at the reinforced steel doors. He'd worked murders in alleys, deserts, and cheap motel rooms. None of them felt like this. Here, the killer didn't run. He waited. And every wall seemed to be listening. Warden Evelyn Cross joined him, her expression sharper than usual. Internal affairs is on their way, she said. So is Sacramento. Cole exhaled slowly. You know what that means. Yes, Cross replied. It means they'll look for a cover story before they look for the truth. Inside D Block, inmates had gone quiet. Too quiet. Even the men who normally shouted insults or demands through the doors stayed silent, as if noise itself had become dangerous. Guards reported the same unsettling pattern. Prisoners refusing meals, refusing showers, staring at the cameras longer than usual. Watching. Waiting. Marcus Hale's cell sat at the center of it all. Cole requested another interview immediately. This time, Hale was already seated when they arrived, hands folded neatly, posture relaxed. He looked less like a prisoner and more like someone hosting an unwanted meeting. You read it, Hale said before Cole spoke. The message? Cole asked. Hale smiled faintly. Messages don't write themselves. Are you threatening my people? Cole demanded. Hale tilted his head. Your people threaten themselves. I just help them notice. Cross watched from behind the glass, her reflection overlapping Hale's face. She'd built her career on control. On rules. On believing that even the worst men could be contained. Hale was dismantling that belief one sentence at a time. Cole leaned forward. Lisa Moreno is missing. She was the last officer to report unusual behavior from Ruiz. Did you speak to her? Hale's eyes flickered again. A fraction of a second. Enough. She was listening, Hale said. That's always dangerous. Cole slammed his hand on the table. Where is she? If I knew, Hale replied calmly, she'd already be dead. Or you would. The interview ended abruptly. This time, not because Hale refused to talk, but because the power cut out mid-sentence. For exactly 12 seconds, Pelican Bay went dark. Emergency lights flickered on. Doors locked automatically. Guards froze in place, hands hovering near their weapons. 12 seconds wasn't long enough for an escape. But it was long enough for a message. When power returned, every monitor in the control room displayed the same image. A still frame from Ruiz's cell camera. With one word superimposed across the screen. Listen. Internal Affairs arrived by noon, led by Deputy Director Thomas Rourke, a man known more for loyalty than curiosity. He shook hands, offered rehearsed condolences, and immediately began requesting files. Pelican Bay doesn't need speculation, Rourke said. It needs stability. Cole stared at him. Stability doesn't explain missing staff and unexplained deaths. Rourke lowered his voice. And investigations don't explain riots. Cross said nothing, but her silence spoke volumes. That afternoon, a guard named Peter Lang collapsed during a routine patrol. No injuries. No warning. Just sudden disorientation and loss of consciousness. Medical revived him quickly, but when Lang came to, he refused to speak. He just kept repeating one sentence. He knew my name. Lang had never met Marcus Hale. Or so he thought. Cole reviewed personnel files late into the night. Patterns began to emerge. Transfers. Promotions. Disciplinary actions reversed. Guards who'd worked facilities Hale had passed through in the past. Too many coincidences. Pelican Bay wasn't Hale's first stop. It was his destination. Cole tracked down an old case from 7 years earlier. An inmate suicide ruled open and shut. But the note left behind included a line that hadn't made sense at the time. He told me first. The same words found in Ruiz's cell. The case file listed the investigator as retired. Cole drove 3 hours south to find him. Frank Delaney lived alone in a quiet coastal town, the kind of place criminals forgot existed. He answered the door with suspicion etched deep into his face. You shouldn't be here, Delaney said after Cole explained why he'd come. You investigated Hale, Cole replied. You knew. Delaney laughed bitterly. I suspected. That's worse. They sat at a small kitchen table cluttered with unopened mail. Delaney poured 2 cups of coffee neither of them touched. Hale doesn't kill people, Delaney said. He recruits them. Cole frowned. From inside a cell. From inside their heads, Delaney corrected. He listens. He remembers. He learns what you're afraid of, what you regret, what you'd do anything to erase. Delaney leaned closer. Then he waits. Cole felt a chill. For what? For pressure, Delaney said. For the moment when the system cracks. When people start making choices they can't undo. Back at Pelican Bay, pressure was building fast. Lisa Moreno's phone was recovered from a trash bin near the highway. It had been wiped clean except for one unsent draft message. If anything happens to me, don't trust. The rest was gone. That night, Cole received a call that changed the trajectory of the case. Another inmate was dead. This time, it wasn't D-block. It was administrative segregation. The most secure wing in the prison. The inmate had been placed there specifically to prevent contact with others. And yet, carved into the wall beside his bed were the same words. He told me first. Cole rushed to the scene, heart pounding. This was no longer about coincidence or manipulation. This was coordination. Precision. Hale was reaching people he should not have been able to reach. Cross joined Cole at the scene, her composure cracking for the first time. I built this place to stop men like him. Cole looked at her. Maybe that's why he wanted to be here. They returned to the interview room one last time that night. Hale entered calmly, as if summoned rather than escorted. You're losing control, Hale said softly. Tell me what you want, Cole demanded. Hale met his gaze. I want the truth to surface. Whose truth? Cole asked. Hale leaned in, chains rattling. Yours. Hers. This prison's. Cross stiffened behind the glass. Hale continued, his voice steady. Pelican Bay isn't just a prison. It's a vault. And some of the worst crimes committed here were never written down. Cole's phone buzzed in his pocket. A message from an unknown number. A photo loaded slowly. It showed Lisa Moreno. Alive. Standing in a dimly lit room, fear etched across her face. Behind her, scratched into the wall, were the same familiar words. You're next. And beneath the photo, a single message appeared. You have 48 hours. Cole looked up at Hale. Hale smiled. Now, he said, you're finally listening. The clock started ticking the moment the message arrived. 48 hours. That was how long Detective Aaron Cole had to find Lisa Moreno, expose whatever rot had taken hold inside Pelican Bay, and stop Marcus Hale from turning the prison into a weapon. 48 hours before another body appeared. Or worse, before the truth disappeared forever. Cole didn't sleep. Neither did Warden Evelyn Cross. By dawn, Pelican Bay was under an unofficial lockdown. Movement restricted. Communications monitored. Internal Affairs insisted it was procedural. Cole knew better. Someone was panicking. The photo of Lisa Moreno haunted him. The lighting suggested somewhere underground. Concrete walls. No windows. A place designed to hide people. There are only 3 areas like that, Cross said, standing over a digital map of the prison. Old maintenance tunnels, decommissioned storage beneath medical, and the original isolation wing. Cole pointed to the last one. That wing was shut down after the lawsuit, right? Cross nodded. Officially sealed. Cole looked at her. Officially doesn't mean empty. They assembled a small team, people Cross trusted, people whose names didn't appear anywhere near Hale's long shadow. No radios. No announcements. Just flashlights and quiet footsteps. As they descended into the older levels of Pelican Bay, the air grew colder. Damp. The kind of cold that felt intentional, as if the walls themselves were trying to preserve secrets. The isolation wing looked exactly like it had in the archival photos. Narrow cells. Heavy doors. Scratches on the walls left behind by men no one remembered. Until now. They found Lisa Moreno in the 3rd cell on the left. Alive. Shaken. Pale. But alive. When they unlocked the door, she collapsed into Cross's arms, shaking uncontrollably. Cole crouched beside her. Lisa, he said gently. Who did this to you? She swallowed hard. Not who, she whispered. What? Cole exchanged a look with Cross. Talk to me. Moreno took a breath that trembled all the way down. It started months ago. Messages. Not notes, conversations. Guards talking about things they shouldn't know. Inmates predicting transfers before they happened. I thought it was paranoia. But it wasn't, Cole said. No, Moreno replied. It was a network. Quiet. Invisible. Hale didn't need to touch anyone. He just needed them to listen. She explained how Hale had memorized schedules, personal details, regrets. How he'd pass information through harmless-looking conversations. How guards would repeat things without realizing they were spreading something dangerous. He'd tell someone a secret, Moreno said. Then wait until that secret destroyed them. Cole felt the pieces clicking together. Ruiz. The guard who collapsed. The suicides. None of them were random. They thought they were alone, Moreno continued. But Hale had already been there. In their heads. They escorted her out quietly. But before reaching the stairs, an alarm blared above them. Not code grey. Code black. Riot protocol. Cole's phone buzzed again. Unknown number. A single line of text. You found her. Good. Now look up. The lights went out. This time, they stayed out longer. Emergency power kicked in, bathing the corridor in red. Overhead, the sound of doors slamming echoed like thunder. Somewhere above them, men were shouting. Guards were yelling commands. The prison was unraveling. Cole and Cross moved fast, pushing Moreno ahead of them. When they reached the stairwell, it was blocked. Smoke rose from above. They're herding people, Cross said, her voice tight. Someone wants chaos. Or cover, Cole replied. They rerouted through maintenance corridors, emerging near central control just as power returned. The monitors came back online. Every screen showed the same thing. Marcus Hale's cell. Empty. For the first time since his arrival, panic took hold openly. He can't just vanish, Cross said. Not here. But Cole knew better. Hale hadn't vanished. He'd been released. Internal Affairs Director Rourke stood in the control room, flanked by armed officers. His face was pale. Where is he? Cross demanded. Rourke didn't answer. Cole stepped closer. You moved him. Rourke swallowed. We had no choice. Hale was cooperating. With what? Cole asked. Rourke's silence was enough. Moreno spoke up, her voice shaking but clear. He told you something, didn't he? Rourke's eyes darted toward the cameras. He told me Pelican Bay was built on buried mistakes. And that if I didn't help him leave, he'd make sure they were all uncovered. Cole's blood ran cold. What mistakes? Rourke laughed weakly. The kind careers don't survive. Cross stared at him in disbelief. You let the most dangerous inmate in California walk out because he scared you. Rourke's voice cracked. He didn't scare me. He proved it. Before anyone could react, a guard shouted from the back of the room. Sir, you need to see this. A video file had just been uploaded to the system. No sender. No timestamp. It showed an interview room. Different prison. Different year. A younger Rourke sat across from Marcus Hale. Hale leaned forward, smiling. You're going to help me someday, Hale said in the video. You just don't know it yet. The screen cut to black. Silence filled the room. Cole turned to Cross. He planned this years ago. Longer, Moreno whispered. Sirens wailed outside. News helicopters circled overhead. Pelican Bay had gone from secretive fortress to national headline in a matter of hours. Hale was never found. Official statements claimed a clerical error. A miscommunication. An ongoing investigation. But Cole knew the truth. Hale didn't escape Pelican Bay. He graduated from it. Weeks later, Cole sat alone in his apartment, staring at a wall covered in notes. Names. Dates. Connections that spanned decades. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. One message. You listened better than most. Attached was a document. A list of prisons. Facilities across the country. Each with a name beside it. A contact. Cole closed his eyes. Pelican Bay wasn't unique. It was a prototype. The final report would say the threat had been neutralized. That reforms were underway. That justice had been served. But 3 months later, in a maximum security prison on the other side of the country, an inmate died alone in his cell. No injuries. No struggle. Just 4 words carved into the concrete. He told me first. They said Marcus Hale was still out there. They said he was hiding. But the truth was far worse. He was already inside. And if you think this story was intense, you're not ready for the next one.